Hello and welcome. My name is Walid Mehr. I'm a Microsoft Technical Trainer here to walk through the Microsoft SC-300 Identity and Access Administrator Associate course with you. Imagine your organization growing rapidly, new users, changing roles, and evolving projects. How do you make sure everyone has the right access and nothing more? That's where access reviews come in. With Microsoft Entra, you can regularly review and confirm permissions, ensuring users have the access to what they truly need. In this session, you'll discover how access reviews help you maintain security, support compliance, and keep your environment streamlined, no matter how fast things change. So let's get started. Access reviews are a powerful feature in Microsoft Entra ID governance that helps organizations make sure the right people have the right access to the right resource, no more, no less. Think of access reviews as a regular checkup for your digital environment. They allow you to monitor, audit, and adjust who can access critical assets like applications, groups, sensitive data. By conducting these reviews, you can reduce the risk of unauthorized access, ensure compliance, and keep your organization secure, all while maintaining productivity for employees and business partners. Access reviews are especially useful when requirements change, such as when an employee switches a role, a project ends, or an external collaborator no longer needs access. So how do access reviews work in practice? The process starts with planning. Decide which resource needs reviewing, whose access should be checked, how often reviews should occur, and who will be responsible for making the decisions. You can assign reviews to resource owners, select delegates, or even let the users self-attest to their needs for continued access. Communication is the key. Reviewers are notified by email and can receive custom messages to clarify expectations. Access reviews can be piloted with smaller groups to fine-tune the process, and you can choose to apply the changes automatically or manually after each review. The benefits are clear. Access reviews help organizations stay secure, meet compliance requirements, and ensure that the access permissions are always up to date and appropriate for every user. Let's have a look at some of this in the portal. Right, we're back into the Entra Admin Center on entra.microsoft.com, and all we are looking at currently is under the Identity Governance tab. We are in access reviews. Now, as we start our journey in access reviews, we can scroll down the blade in Identity Governance to get to the menu for access review. And currently I can see there are a couple of access reviews that are already going on. Well, we'll leave them alone for now. Let's have a look. Let's create a new access review. First of all, like I said, it's all about planning on what do I want to review in this part of the session. So let's go and decide or plan one review. Select what to review, and here I get to choose teams and groups to pick from, or I can go into reviewing applications. Now again, I can find out how many people are in a team, how many people are on a group, do they need access to this, and this is what this review or access review should help me in finding out that information. Now let's go and find out some details. Let's select a scope for this. I'll select a team and a group. Let's go into selecting one of the groups that I have, and let's go ahead and choose one of my groups over here. So let's go and choose my group called DevOps, and we'll select that group. All right, now the scope that I'm selecting over here is again asking me guest users only or all users. Am I reviewing this for all users? So let's go ahead and do all users. If I further on go inactive users only, that could be a nice one to look at. Maybe I'm trying to find out if there are users that haven't been active for the last 30 days. I want to be made aware. Maybe they no longer work for the company. They no longer need access to their resources. So maybe I can take them away from that, and I can simply bring them on as part of that. But for now, let's move on. Now, within my reviews, what do I need to do? Well, do we need a multi-stage review? Do we need to create, again, reviews created at multi-stage? If we wanted to do that, we can add that in here. We can then create the multiple stages in here to say, hey, during the first stage, we want to review this, and second stage, we do that. But for now, we'll leave it as single stage review, and we'll carry on creating the review just for now. Select the reviewer. Who's reviewing this? Again, we can add reviewers to be a group of users. It could be the owner of the group that we have. If there were added some there, we can add a particular user or another group of users that are reviewers for us. We can add user reviews their own access. Again, this is where they can self-attest to say, yes, I still need access to this, or they see a list of resources they have access to and they don't, and they can again lose access to them. Or we can ask the managers to get a report every so often to see if they can approve if they still need access to that. Now, I'm going to go with the managers for now, just to configure this. And very quickly looking at this, we have a fallback reviewer if we want to add, just in case the manager wasn't available. Maybe in here I can go and then decide if there was a group of people or an individual user that should be able to do this. And for that reason, I'll simply go and add my administrator to be able to do the fallback review on this. Now, specify the recurrence of the review. Again, we can set up date on how frequently this should happen. Ideally, this shouldn't be a one-off thing unless there were a specific need for it. Typically, you would want to do this on a recurring basis, because you want to make sure that you don't have any stale users in a group or within an application. So you want to do this in a regular manner, whereas it could be maybe after 30 days. It doesn't have to be every few days. You decide what works for you better. Review recurrence, and again we can say, all right, fine, let's do this one time. Because we've defined already the review to run every 30 days, it's now going to take away the weekly and monthly option away from me, and maybe it wants to do this again every quarter, so I can do that in here. Now, I can set the start date for this to begin anytime in the future if I like. And from that point onwards, it'll start running this. And do I want to end this? Again, you could choose to end the review at a certain date, or you could leave it open to say, hey, never end this. Or I could decide that after certain reoccurrences of these reviews, it should stop. Maybe after 5 reviews, it should stop. So I can define that in here too. For now, we'll leave it as it is and we'll move on. Now, upon completion, what should happen? Now here we have options to go into auto apply results to the resources. That means the system will automatically apply whatever outcome it seems fit. Now I can also see over here that if the reviewer doesn't respond, what type of recommendation do I want it to take? I can say, hey, you apply whatever recommended response you have. The system warns me here straight away, telling me, be careful. If you do that, because it's an auto apply, if the responder or the reviewer doesn't respond, they could end up losing all access to their resources. And if you're okay with that, you might want to carry on with configuring this. Now, at the end of this review, send notifications. Maybe we want to send people notifications to tell them, hey, this review was completed and this is the outcome of that review. So you can select and send people the information about this. So you have an option there to configure. Let's quickly add that in here. So I'm going to add myself. And that's again sending me as an administrator a review notification that was completed. Moving on, we have enable reviewers decision helper. This is where I mentioned earlier on that we can allow the system to give me some sort of help with this. We have options to say no sign in for 30 days. Check all of those users. Well, that's ticked on. We'll leave that ticked on for now. Further on, we have some other advanced options, things like justification required for any action. If you, as a reviewer, take email notifications to be sent out to people to tell them, hey, things are changing, this is removed, someone has been removed from this particular resource, so you can do that. Reminders also enabled. By all means, you can uncheck some of these if you don't want these messages popping out. The reminders for those who are reviewing and haven't reviewed that yet, again, you can do that. Additional content for the reviewers in the email, you can add that in here if you need to. For now, I'll leave this blank and we'll move on. Now, I'll give this a name. This is our DevOps review. Right, maybe for the group membership. So we'll leave it as that. And we'll create this access review. Now, this is as easy as creating a group review. Now, there are quite a few other access reviews that you can create within your identity governance. For instance, if you watch one of the previous sessions that we recorded, which covers the part of entitlement management, there's access reviews for entitlement management. There is another video that we have for privileged identity management. There are access reviews for privileged identity management. But if you're looking particularly for access reviews for your groups and your teams or applications, then you can come into your access reviews area and create them just like the one we created. This concludes our session. We encourage you to review the reference modules, check your knowledge with the additional study materials, watch other videos in this course, or search out your next favorite topic on Microsoft Learn at aka.ms/learn. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.